Namaste everybody and welcome to Yoga with Shri. In this episode of Yoga with Shri, we are going to be talking about all things Ujjayi Pranayama. If you have ever been to a yoga class or you would have heard this term often being spoken by yoga instructors, take your Ujjayi breath. So what is Ujjayi exactly? In the West, it is also called ocean breath or Darth Vader breath. So that's a more fun way of describing Ujjayi Pranayama. If you've seen or heard Darth Vader, he sounds like this. So it is almost an intended and streamlined breath sound that someone makes when they're really determined to conquer. So Ujjayi is exactly that. I wonder how they kind of gave this audio effect or sound to Darth Vader. So this is very apt. Ujjayi simply means it's a sandhi or a integration of two words, ud and jayi in Sanskrit. So ud means expanding or blowing, and jayi means someone who is victorious, successful, a conqueror. In other terms, jayi also means restraining and curbing. So if you've ever done, strength training or worked out at the gym, resistance training is very common. So why we do resistance training is to add a bit of endurance and resilience in the body and also to strengthen the muscles. So Ujjayi breath is that pranayama which we can describe as a resistance pranayama, similar to how we do resistance training in the body. I don't want to go into technical jargons, but how can we do Ujjayi? You can imagine it like this. Imagine you're watering your garden with a hose pipe. So you switch on the water supply, and if you just simply show the hose onto the plants, water is just going to fall out of the hose or flow without any pressure. It's just going to fall right here. But if you press your index finger and partly close that opening in the hose, what happens is the water starts to flow with more force and power and covering a greater distance, reaching out. This is what exactly happens with your breath. If you imagine your breath to be a fountain of water that you want to send in and oxygenate your blood and fill your lungs up, Ujjayi is the correct way to do it. And this happens by constricting the pit of your throat, or what we call the glottis. So how can we simply do this? Imagine if you have a pair of spectacles, you can just take it and you're fogging your glasses. So you do a HA sound, or blow into the palm of your hand like you're fogging your hand. You will feel your lungs just going in, getting rid of all the air. Now take an inhale just like that, like you're gasping at something so wonderful. That is so good, something like that. So it's a H-A-H or A-H kind of sound. You will already hear something like ocean waves. Come on, try it. Practice it a few times just to get accustomed with the new muscular technique that we're using with Ujjayi Pranayama. And after you do this a few times, now start to close your lips and include your nose in that equation. So we say like a H-A-M sound, you will hear something of like a deep-throated whispering sound. Your glottis will automatically constrict. So what we're doing here is when we bring our lips together, we don't stop breathing through the mouth, but in addition to breathing in through the mouth, we are bringing in the nasal passage into the equation. So when this happens, there is a constriction at the pit of the throat, and you can feel the flow of air over the upper palate in your mouth. So you have to listen carefully. So I say, and let it go. You'll feel the pressure, like a constant pressure that we give on the garden hose pipe. You feel the same kind of a pressure, and you'll find the streamlined flow of breath filling up the lungs, much like blowing into a small hole in the balloon and inflating it. So why is Ujjayi Pranayama so special? A, it is accessible by everyone. I mean literally everyone. Even if you are pregnant, this is one of the most safest pranayamas that you can do. And if you are someone suffering from a coronary issue or high blood pressure, this pranayama can be done in a reclining position with a bolster and a block underneath, or maybe try stacking a couple of pillows and leaning back on it, just elevating your heart up a little, and you can practice this pranayama. Again, this pranayama can be practiced at all times of the day. You can even lie down and walk while doing this pranayama. And number two, it oxygenates the blood much more to a level that the same phenomena happens when you during periods of increased exercise. But with Ujjayi Pranayama, your body and brain are completely at rest, so you can reap the same benefits and increase the supply of oxygen in the blood by filling up your lungs with air without the wear and tear and stress of exercise. Sometimes when we just, someone says, "Are you stressed?" Take a deep breath and we say, sometimes this stresses out people even more, I feel. Just like a deep breath, like trying to, hold on and say, "Oh, is that deep enough? Are my lungs filled with air?" You kind of lift your shoulders and you say, take a 4-count inhale with both nostrils. Is that even possible? 2 count and you're done. And you don't know, what am I doing right here in your yoga class? So at times like these, Ujjayi Pranayama really gives you that feeling of deep breathing, much more pronounced, so that it actually registers in your nervous system and puts your body into that rest and digest mode, switching on your parasympathetic nervous system. And when this happens, the natural consequence is, if you've ever heard the term vagus nerve, so read about it. If you've never heard about it, it makes for an interesting read. This stimulates the vagus nerve. So Ujjayi Pranayama is like target practice for the vagus nerve, and studies show that this pranayama stimulates the vagus nerve much more faster than any other pranayama, and this really helps with people suffering from depression, anxiety, mood swing issues, or any psychological issues as well. It really puts the mind into a calm rhythm, bringing rhythm to the breath. And it is the perfect pranayama for you to do just before your meditation practice, or even in between your vinyasa flows or other asana practice. Even when you're settling in an asana, try to switch to Ujjayi Pranayama from a normal pranayama, and you will really feel the benefits of this wonderful miracle of a pranayama. What I really love about the practice of Ujjayi Pranayama is the body remains completely still and relaxed, as opposed to other pranayamas where you may use the mudra with your hands. There are other things to concentrate upon. With Ujjayi, it's like your body has just, it's just unwound, and there is absolutely no movement in the body. So it really gives you that sense of a yogic stillness seeping into the body, really unwinding the mind and paving way for the next step in yoga, which is dhyana or meditation, which happens when the mind is completely relaxed and the body is completely relaxed. Ujjayi Pranayama works on the throat and chest chakra, so it is particularly amazing for the thyroid glands as well. And if you are a singer, I also love this because I'm a singer, because the vagus nerve that we talked about really innervates all the muscles in the voice box, which is the pharynx and the larynx. So many of the muscles that run down here are connected with branches of the vagus nerve. So when you tone the vagus nerve using Ujjayi Pranayama, you actually strengthen and work with these muscles in the voice box as well. So it's particularly beneficial for singers. So just Ujjayi comes with glowing recommendations. I think it's only natural that we do our Ujjayi breath routine, which you will find in a separate video following this. So I hope you all really understood how to do the Ujjayi Pranayama. The best way is to try to map the sound you heard. In the next video, I've actually done a studio microphone recording of the breathing sound so that you can play it and try to match what you're doing in order to get to that place in your practice. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Namaste.